Hi friends, in our time together today, I'll introduce Cooley's Reel, as it's most popularly known. The tune is also called the Tulla Reel or Luttrell's Pass Reel, and a few other names. I was thinking of introducing another tune. We hadn't done a slower tune for a while, but after doing the video on learning to play faster, and I used Cooley's Reel for that, and I realized I'd never introduced it. So I kind of feel like I painted myself in a corner, and I want to do Cooley's Reel today. It's a tune we should all know. So you'd expect from a tune that was composed most likely less than 100 years ago that there'd be one clean setting for the tune for us to follow. But welcome to music that lives and thrives in an oral tradition. The session website, as an example, has like 20 settings for this tune. And I found other ones on other traditional tune websites. So pick the version you like. And I chose one that I feel like is about the most common, but with this tune, there almost is no most common. There's just like, okay, this is quite close to what everybody's playing. We'll follow our usual format. I'll walk us through the tune. It has an A part and a B part. Now there is a variation someone made a number of years after the tune became popular that adds a C part, but we're not going down that road. So I'll walk us through the A part. Won't do the repeat, then I'll walk us through the B part, slowly pausing between phrases. And then I'll walk us through the entire tune, including the repeats, in the play along with Scott section, so that you could get a sense of everything with the tune. I'll provide, as usual, also a link in the notes to this video so that you could access a page on my website from which you could download the music and tabs for this version if you'd like to. We'll then chat about any difficulties you might experience with the tune, talk about some ornamentation ideas and expression, and after that, the history of the tune, which you'd also expect would be clearer for a tune that isn't all that old. Anyway, here is the A part, and I'll pause between some of the phrasings. All right, that's the A part. Nothing too crazy in there. You are going to have to get comfortable with some of the jumps. And then I'll take us from the transition at the end of the second repeat into the B part and walk us through similarly. All right. Interesting. It is a delightful, happy tune that you're expected to play quickly. But I've played it through slowly, and it just is beautiful that way as well. But you're not expected to do that. So here is the entire tune, including the repeats. if you're looking at the printed music, you'll notice at the end of the tune, it is written. And that's because when you're playing this, you're probably expected to just jump straight into another reel in the same key. So I think as far as difficulties go, I don't think it's going to be too challenging to learn the tune. It's such a delightful tune to play. The difficulty is your and my learning to get up to speed with this tune, because as a reel it's played quite quickly, but that's okay. Play it, as I've said, at the pace you can and get comfortable with that, and then go through the challenge of increasing the speed just a little bit, and then keep playing it at that pace until you're okay, and then incrementally increase your speed. There aren't too many difficulties there. The highest note you're going to hit's a high A, but you're walking up to it, and that actually makes it a little easier to hit it. Some of the jumps, if you're a newer player, might be a little difficult, but take them slowly. As far as ornamentation goes, man, you can have a lot of fun with this one. Remember though, traditionally, starting off, those repeated B's, put a roll in, put a cut in, switch that up a little bit. You can even do a hard tongue on one of them. Experiment with some of the ornaments. I love the transition from the end of the A part, when you've gone through it the second time, up to the B part. I just love sliding up to that G and coming down to the F sharp, and you can just hit that. It's really kind of fun. Listen to a wide variety of folks playing the tune. If you listen to one or two people only, all of us tend to fall into our own set style of ornamenting tunes. So listen to more than one or two people even to get a variety there. Like I said, I expected with a tune that's honestly less than 100 years old, there to be more consistency in the setting and for the story of the tune to be clear and simple. But that's not how life goes, is it? So the reel is popularly known as Cooley's reel. This is most likely the case because Joe Cooley loved this tune from an early age, and every time he was playing a gig, he'd play this at least once during a set. And apparently when he played, tunes just came to life. And so it's said that he wasn't necessarily the best technical player, but when he started playing, everyone gathered around. Now, Joe Mills and Joe Cooley were in a band together called the Aughram Slopes in the late 1930s, and Joe Mills was interviewed in the 1970s. He said he composed the tune, but that Cooley loved it so much that he'd play it at least a few times every night. And so it was like Cooley's favorite. And that's also one of the other names for the tune. The title that Mills used to refer to the tune is Luttrell's Pass. It referred to the Battle of Aughram, which was fought in the 17th century, which was what actually took place near where Joe Mills lived. So there are other stories about the origin of the tune other than Joe Mills composed it. And he probably did, but some of the other stories are probably also true. There's another tale that goes that the guys from the band were in another pub and they were listening to some old guy playing tunes, and they heard a version of this tune, and they loved it so much that when they went back to whoever house it was, they transcribed it, made their own setting, and I guess Joe Mills may have been the key mover in that transcription and recreation of the tune, and so he gave it the name. So I don't know. There are more stories out there, and so that's okay. This is another amazing tune that the precise transcription and the precise story live in a fog. And we're okay with that because we're just happy that we have it. And since there are so many transcriptions, that means you can play it like you want. So we appreciate whoever composed this delightful and fun tune. So play it well, start playing it a little more quickly, and enjoy this delightful tune. I can't believe we've not done it together before. Until next time, my friends, this is Scott Shade. Happy whistling, especially with such fun tunes as Cooley's Reel.